Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. So, if you guys have been paying attention at all, cryptos continue to be the best performing asset of the year. Um, Bitcoin's just been absolutely ripping. It's up about 150% right now. What I want to talk about today is Riot Platforms. This is a crypto miner, and how I kind of navigated this recent move up in Bitcoin and trading it through, this kind of leveraged option, which is these Bitcoin miners. So, excuse me. Let's go back a little bit. Bitcoin started ripping right around January 23. So you can see that Riot did the same. Coming off the low, it really just absolutely pumped all the way from, we'll call it 350 in this off this bottom up until 650 in this first base. And the whole time it held, this blue line is the 10-day simple moving average. Then we saw a consolidation period and a character change here. What that character change is represented by is the highest volume quarterly. So at the time in March, this was the highest volume that this asset had seen in the first quarter. So we knew there was a character change. The buyers are stepping in as we broke out above the 10-day moving average and above a lot of resistance right here on a gap higher. And then the whole time, all the way from, we'll say you got involved here at 689 on the close. We respected the 10-day, and this was a 100% move all the way to the peak. And even if you didn't sell until the open right here, that was a 70% move in about, a month and a week, which is insane. And then we saw another character change here. We saw increase in volume, highest volume of the year. And that lets you know that, maybe there's some more fuel in the tank once we get some sideways consolidation like we did. And then we got another move higher. And the whole time, this was another really big move. We saw some volume spikes over the 10-day moving average. This was a big signal to get in. Once we had 200, we saw 27 million shares trade hands. You can see that in the lower left corner, the simple volume. And then that thing just absolutely pumped again. Another 100% move. Only 80% this time, sorry. And then if you sold here, that was about a 63% move. And then we saw price respect the 10-day for a while. Now we saw Riot kind of trade in this sideways pattern. And the reason I started really looking at this chart is if we go to Bitcoin, let's just use October as our bias here. It really started to take shape. We saw this big 3.5% move, and then going into the middle of the month, we saw a lot of huge pumps in Bitcoin. So while Riot was kind of trading sideways and down, Bitcoin was trading higher. That's a divergence that I was taking note of and wanted to be involved in, because if our kind of like a gold miner, if Bitcoin's going up, you'd assume that Riot's going up because it sells the product that Bitcoin is. So if the product is going up and Riot's mining it, you would think that the share price of Riot's also going to go up. I understand there's some more economies of scale and different, contributing factors to why or why not Riot goes up. At the end of the day, if Bitcoin doubles in price, that's going to be good for Riot just because it can sell its mined product at a higher value. So going back to the actual chart of Riot, my first buy was on this October 23rd date. And I noted that because we saw a little bit of a trend change. We had this huge bullish divergence on the RSI. And that was really, cemented back through here. There were a couple days where we saw some good volume. Taking a look here on the 18th of October, good volume there, but the day closed lower. Not really something I want to be involved in. Good volume on the 28th of September, but couldn't get above the 10-day moving average. Good volume on the 2nd of October, but the close was lower than the open. Not something I want to be involved in. And then here on the the 6th of October, this could have been a good buy signal. I really wanted to see this bullish divergence kind of play out a little bit more, and to be honest with you, I was looking more for a range break above, say, the $10 level. We didn't get that, so I kept being patient. The 16th of October, again, a good move higher on volume, but the close was less than the open. And then finally, we see on the 23rd of October, a big old pump on huge volume, and this whole time Bitcoin's been ripping higher, so I knew there would be a catch-up trade here. Then I sat patient. We respected the 10-day the whole time, and then on the 2nd of November, I added to my position. And I also moved up my stop, so I raised my cost basis, so I wanted to move up my stop, and I made it right at the close of the 23rd, so I'll just mark this on here. This was going to be my new stop, was right around this level, right around this 967, and then unfortunately, I did get stopped out here on the 14th, but immediately, I was back in on the 15th of November because we got that huge volume move right above the 10-day moving average. And if we take a look at Bitcoin again, here's the 23rd, the first day I got in, we saw a 10% spike. The second day I got in was the 2nd of November, we were still moving higher. And then finally, on my last buy was the 15th of November, we saw another huge spike. So even though Bitcoin kind of traded sideways for a while, that's really when Riot got moving, and I've been in this trade ever since. Off this most recent position, we're currently up 40%, which is a very substantial move over only 20 days, less than 3 weeks. And now the most important part of the trade is just respecting that profit and making sure we don't give too much back. I really want to use the 10-day moving average as a stop, but this gap right here at 1431 is going to be a good level too. Maybe I sell half the position there, or maybe that's probably what I am going to do, but maybe you still have the position there. And then wait for the 10-day to catch up, and if price closes below that, that's when you sell the rest of it. At this point, when we're seeing all these huge upside moves, the most important part is making sure that you're still in the trade. Volume is going to be a big tell, and we did get overbought on the RSI, which is a great sign. As a trend trader, I tend to believe that momentum is going to continue in the direction it does. Momentum is not mean reverting, it is trending. So what I think happens is, we're a bit overextended. This thing can run pretty hot. We hit an 85 RSI back in July when we had that 83% move. And then, when we had that 100% move back in January, we hit a 75, and then we've also hit a 77. So this thing can definitely run overbought for a while, and I'm not looking to pretend like it won't. But we don't want to get back all that trade, like I said. So I'm going to use that gap to sell half, use the 10-day to sell the other half, and then if we start basing sideways for a while, we're going to use this $16 as our next resistance, and then maybe we see just a little bit sideways action for a while. That would be totally warranted. Maybe we see something like that and that and that and that and that, and then we finally break higher on higher volume. The big tell is last time Riot looked like this was a very constructive pullback here in July. If we take a look at this, I was super bullish on Riot, and I kind of was disappointed in the turnout just because we had this huge move. We did see some downside volume, but it was respecting the 10-day the whole time. Next time we tested or got close to the 10-day, we saw some good volume to let us know there was a move higher, and then volume absolutely collapsed, which is what you want to see. You want to see a supply constrict. There's not any shares being introduced to the market right around the 10-day. That's perfect. And then say you drop a VWAP up here. We never broke out above that VWAP, never had a chance to continue the trade, and then finally we just puked lower for what felt like forever. So hopefully that doesn't happen in Riot this time. Hopefully we see more of this green sideways action, and then we get a run above that 16 level, and then we just keep ripping higher. So, I really wanted to let everybody know about this Riot trade. Make sure that you can stay involved in one of the next ones. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and thanks for watching.